Flosstube, welcome to Snickerdoodle Stitch. This is a channel about cross stitch. If it's your first time here, welcome, and if you're visiting me again, thanks so much for coming back. My name is Kathleen, and it's been a while since I did a regular video. I had my year-end UFO, and then I did my 2023 finishes, and I would like to say in that time frame I got a lot of stitching done, but I was really distracted with the holidays and just some other hobbies and activities, and I didn't get a lot of stitching done to the last few weeks, but I did get a lot done the last few weeks. And I have some stash, some haul to show that I picked up when I was doing some trips. So over the holidays, the Friday before New Year's, I went down to Stitching Post, which is in Catonsville, Maryland, just south of Baltimore. They have a big end of year sale, so I went down for that. And then went down further to Alexandria and stayed overnight there and did some just poking around. But I went to In Stitches. Hopefully I've got that right. There's too many stores that have the word Stitches in them and I get them mixed up sometimes. It's in Alexandria, lovely store, and they were having a sale as well. So I did clean up on some stash. Had a great time there. It was beautiful weather for end of December. It was warm, it wasn't raining, it was really comfortable walking around Old Town Alexandria. And then after I went to the stitching store the next day, I went and visited Mount Vernon, which I had never been to before. Don't know that I would go back, but it was interesting to go one time. It was very crowded. There were a lot more people there than I expected for the end of December, in kind of dreary. It was overcast that day. It wasn't raining, but it wasn't a pretty day, but it was very busy. So you pretty much are channeled in one door in a single file line and upstairs and down around and out a different door. So it made it a little hard to see. Not that there was a lot to see. You know, there were some unique things and it was cool. I'm glad I did it the one time. I was born in DC and went there a lot as a kid and as a young adult, and I go down myself pretty often to sightsee or just poke around, visit a city. It's driving distance from here, or it's a really easy train ride. I'm comfortable with the metro, which is a subway system there, so a lot of times if I drive down, I'll park this side of the city and then just take the subway in. So I don't have to deal with parking and all that fun stuff. But I had never gone to Mount Vernon's in all those trips. So I'm glad I got to do that. Let me see. If you visited my 2023 finish parade, I apologize for the blooper at the beginning with me counting down. That is how typically, you know, I'm getting things set up. I've got the camera turned on. And when I turn the camera on, my face is like 6 inches away, and nobody needs to see that, especially if you're watching this on a big screen TV, like I often watch Flosstube. So normally I get in my chair, I have my drink, I make sure I'm ready, get any coughing or sniffling out of the way, and then I do a countdown, and that makes it easy when I come back and edit to trim off the beginning with all that other craziness happening. And then same thing at the end. And somehow when I edited, I left my countdown on there. So luckily it wasn't anything crazier than that. I noticed it right after I published it, and it was a beast to upload. As sometimes the videos upload like that, and other times, sometimes they get hung up at like 34%. Like I'll start this one. This is early. That was my other problem last time. I started filming at 11 or midnight or something crazy like that, which was just stupid. It's earlier in the evening this time. But a lot of times by the time I'm finished and I do my editing, I'll just start uploading and then go to bed. And sometimes I get up in the morning and it's stuck at 34%. I don't know what it is that's happening at 34%, but that's where it seems to get stuck. And so then I have to actually delete the video and re-upload. So I had that problem. And then it was naturally going to take a while to upload because it was a longer video. So by the time I realized that I had missed trimming off a few seconds, I was like, you know what? People can just watch me count down. Whatever. Anyway, let's dive into some stitching. So I'm going to start out with kind of my smallest projects that I stitched and work my way up. I'm really excited with some of them. A couple of them you've seen before, and then 3 of them are new. So I did, when I was down at my dad's, I started stitching from the Noel on Rouge, which is a pattern from Lila's studio. It's these really cute little sweaters. I bought this at the sweater weather retreat. I thought it was appropriate. And the ones I really want to do are the Mary, Mary, Mary in the lower corner and the Joy in the upper corner. And then I'm kind of eyeing up the polar bears too. The little Santa's sweater I'm not as crazy about, but the other 3 I like. And I really like the 2 that are predominantly just reds. So I started working on Joy. I am doing this on 25 count white Lugana using the Splendor, and this I actually got at a thrift store for $1.50. But I've talked about Splendor before. It's one of my go-tos for white instead of using 5200. It is a silk. It's 12 strand. It's cheaper than a lot of the other silks, but it gives really nice coverage, and I really like using it for whenever one's stitching on Lugana. So this is how far I got. It is the Joy. Let me hold it way up close. It's the Joy sweater. And this is just white Lugana, although it seems to have kind of a mushroomy cast to it. But really happy with that coverage. In fact, I need to double check if this is what I picked for my modern folk embroidery. I think Lugana is what I settled on. Either Lugana or Jobelin. This I'm sure is Lugana. Yeah, this is actually just a Zweigart Lugana. I can tell from the label it came from Hobby Lobby. But it's not a true white. That would probably be my only complaint. But it's this Joy sweater on the top there. That's what I'm working on. They did theirs. It doesn't say what they did it on. But like on 16 count, it was going to be like almost 4x4. And I like my ornaments to be a little bit smaller. So that's why I opted to do it on the 25 count Lugana. So it's probably going to make it more like 3x3. Yeah, stitch count 63x54. So actually it's going to make it just a little over 2x2. So that was my first project that I worked on. And I'm going to Dad's this weekend, and I'm hoping I can finish Joy. I will keep stitching on ornaments even though it's after Christmas. And some of what I've stitched here was Christmas. I had made up my mind that I was going to stitch on Christmas through January. And today is Friday, January 26th. I may stitch Christmas still this weekend. But I have transitioned into winter stitching too, or I've pulled the stuff for it anyway, and now I'm jonesing to get started on winter. But I'm thinking maybe I'll stitch Christmas this weekend and then do winter for the month of February. I do have some smalls for Valentine's Day that I would like to stitch for February, but I am going away for a long weekend, and it would make a good travel it would make a really good travel project, especially if I can find some Ada so that I can see really easily and don't have to worry. This next one, I didn't do a lot of stitching on this. I really did some prep so that it can become a kind of some mindless stitching at some point when I need it. But it was this Lilli Violette, Waiting for Christmas. And I started over on the left side with the little village and the words Merry Christmas. And if you look at it, that would be really cute even just by itself. And the little village is centered under the words. So it'd be very easy to stitch the lady separately or not stitch her at all or not stitch the village and Merry Christmas at all. Anyway, I didn't, like I said, do a lot on this. I finished filling in the little windows and doors. and I stitched the white outline around so that now there's just some white fill-in that needs to happen. So maybe someday when I'm on the phone or something and can't really concentrate on counting, I'll just go ahead and fill that in. It's not enough fill-in that I would take it to a retreat to have there, because it's just not a lot of fill-in. And this is on 32 count, Fiber on a Whim. Slate is the name of it. And I have another project coming up, which is also on Fiber on a Whim slate. I couldn't remember what, when I get to this other project, I couldn't remember what the fabric was. It was just a scrap that I pulled out. And I'm like, okay, I stitched something else on this. What was it? And then after I was pressing everything, I was like, oh, this is what it is. It's the end of this piece of fabric. So Fiber on a Whim slate. Fiber on a Whim fabric's really nice to work on. This next one is actually also on Fiber on a Whim. It's on a 28 count, Night Sky is the name of it. And this was my Kringle's Flying Academy, which is this pattern from Silver Creek Samplers. And I would like to get up to Strawberry Sampler. I was looking at them on Facebook and saw that somebody commented that this was their favorite sample in the store right now, and I'd love to see their sample stitched up. But I got quite a bit done on this one. So last time you saw this, I just had the green word flying, and I had the KR in Kringle. So I got the Santa's hat, which makes the I in Kringle, and then the NGLE, and I got the Academy at the bottom and the little rooftop. I started across with the Kringle and intended to work on the Santa, but I'll be honest, I think I'm going to get bored with the houses at the bottom. So you can see here, it's a pretty solid row of rooftops down there and some snow. It's not going to be the most exciting stitching, so I decided to work my way down and do a little bit of the houses at a time. So I may bounce back and forth between moving on up to work on the Santa and continuing to work on the bottom. But I wouldn't mind getting a little more stitching done on this before I stop stitching on Christmas for the year. This fabric they picked for it, because this is the same fabric they use in the cover sample. Theirs is on Ada, which is it's a skosh lighter, I think, but it's very close, and it really, these colors just pop on it. And I love the way they've got the shadow. There's a dark gray, $37.99, I think, outlining like the right side of all of the letters. So it makes a really neat shadow effect. You can kind of see it maybe if I hold it up close. It shows up more in their sample, but because the linen is a little bit darker, I think it's not showing as much, but it does some. It makes a difference. Even if you can't tell it has shadow on it, it did look different. All right. Let me just zip that so I don't lose things. This next one, this is a pattern I picked up at the store in Alexandria. It's a Little House Needleworks pattern. It is not new. It's copyright 2016, so it's actually kind of old. But they had samples from this series done. It was a Hometown Holiday series. And they had them finished on like styrofoam bricks. So like a brick shape. And I'm sure, I picked one up. I'm sure it was styrofoam, but then it's the stitching on the front and then fabric on the sides and back. It kind of looked like, do you remember how people would make door stoppers with bricks and they would cover them with padded things and stuff like that? It sort of looked like that, but they were really cute. They're smaller than a brick, but brick shaped. And I fell in love with two of the charts, but one of them they didn't have. One was actually the Needleworks shop, and then this other one was a schoolhouse with kids on the playground, and I fell in love with it. So that's the pattern, and it's called Schoolhouse. and I got pretty far on it, and it is on that same fabric, Fiber on a Whim slate, 32 count. I got all of the Schoolhouse done, and the tree, and the part of the swing set there. So all I have left to do is the bottom, which is the little kids making the snowmen and some trees. And then I'll show you on the pattern, there is a large evergreen that comes out right here behind the school, but it kind of looks to me like the evergreen is growing on the roof. There, the color's better there. You can't see the stitching as well, but the color's more true here. So I'll give you both views. So I may leave off this Christmas tree, or this evergreen tree. It's not necessarily a Christmas tree. I like this pattern for a couple reasons. One, it was just winter. I mean, it's called Hometown Holiday, but it's really just a schoolyard winter scene. But see the evergreen on the top of the roof there? I think I'm either not going to stitch it, or I'm going to bring the tree all the way down to the roof. I think what's bothering me is that you can see the trunk. It's only a stitch, but it's a stitch that's a trunk, and that's making it look like, to me, like the tree is growing out of the roof. Whereas if the tree came all the way down, it would just look like a tree kind of behind the schoolhouse, maybe up a hill or something, but I may just leave the tree off. My plan is to stitch this and finish it like a brick like that and use it for one of the smalls exchanges this year. So I have a few retreats that I'm going to that I know will have smalls exchanges. I'm not sure I'm going to do all of them this time, but we'll see. I think I said that last year, and then I did all of them. At each, I didn't go to any retreats that had a smalls exchange that I didn't take something, but I may do this one, and even though I'm doing this one first, it might go for sweater weather, because sweater weather is in the end of October, so it's when people are starting to think about putting things out for their wintertime items. Yeah, I'm signed up for a needlework extravaganza in New Jersey the end of March. I'm signed up for Stitch North the end of April. I'm still not sure about that one. My car is older, it's got a lot of miles. I'm comfortable driving within the US. I still need to get over to AAA and see if AAA is for North America or just the United States. Not that my car breaks down or anything, but I don't want to break down in Toronto or Canada and then have to try and figure out where to take my car, unless I can just call AAA and say take it somewhere. So I have that in April. Got Stitch New Jersey, Stitch North, which is Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. Or Stitch New England, sorry, not Stitch North. Stitch New England, that one is in Rhode Island, just south of Massachusetts. It was in Massachusetts last year. It's a little farther south this time. I want to go to that one again in October because there's some stuff I want to sightsee in Connecticut. Driving up this year, I did some sightseeing in Rhode Island on the way, but on my way through Connecticut to Rhode Island, I was like, oh, I want to go to that. Oh, I want to go to that. So it's a beautiful time of the year to be in New England, so I want to do that one again. And then sweater weather. So, and Stitching in the Wild in September. I'm overbooked for retreats again. There are a couple of those, like I mentioned, Stitch North, and there's one other that I'm sort of on the fence about. I don't know. We'll see. All right. This next one, this is my last one that I have, sort of. This is the Mirabilia Christmas Elf Fairy, and I got a lot of stitching done on this one. Can I just say, while I'm holding this one up, I keep thinking she's not centered in that mat where she should be, and it drives me crazy every time I look at this. Like you maybe can't see it, but up here there's this little part of her elf wing, and it is actually like right up to the mat. I don't know. I would not have been happy if I had framed that and that's where I ended up with it. That's just me. but I got a lot done on her. So this is on 32 count Fox and Rabbit Eucalyptus. And if you get a chance, see Silk Stitch, and it would be one of the episodes that I watched New Year's weekend, because I haven't really watched Flosstubers since then. So probably something she had late December. She is also doing the Christmas elf, and she's doing it on fabric that has snowflakes on it. Snowflakes or stars? Snowflakes, I think. Gorgeous. I need to either do something on fabric with snowflakes, or I'm an avid rubber stamper, and I have debated stamping some snowflakes on a finished piece. I'm a little nervous to do that, but I may. We'll see. But I got a lot done on Christmas Elf Fairy. So I got all of her dress done, except for the white down here at the bottom. So I got all of the reds done, and got started on her wing, and I'm really happy with the way she's coming out. She's probably a little over half done. I mean, I've got a lot to do to fill that wing in, and then it's really just her feet and her head. And she'll be finished. And I'm loving it on the eucalyptus. So I'm really happy with the fabric choice. Sometimes I'm not happy with my fabric choices, but this one I was happy with. So yeah, she needs some legs and a head. And her wing filled in. Oh, and she is holding a little tiny Christmas tree, which I had even debated leaving that one off. I know, what's with me leaving trees off, right? I had debated leaving that one off because, well, I guess she's got a Santa's hat. I was going to say it wouldn't look Christmassy, but since I put her on the green fabric, I'll probably go ahead and put the tree on and just lean into it as Christmas. But yeah, I was really happy with it. This is a DMC conversion. I found one online that someone else had done. It looks like their blog was discontinued though, so I couldn't see any pictures, but I went with it. I did make a couple minor changes to what they had, but I'm really happy with the DMC conversion. I didn't really want to do over dye for so yeah, that's my Christmas elf. What to show next? All right, you know what, maybe I'll show that next time. I got, for Christmas, I got some Christmas haul that I'll share, because I really need to get this put away. So I got another one of these floss organizers, but this one's jumbo and holds 50 flosses. And I do have a Luca S kit, which has, I think, this many colors. And I may put it on here. I got this big one and I got another small one, but the other small one I have prepped up to start Rosewood Manor Winter Quakers. So I'm really liking this for the Quakers from Rosewood Manor, because those have so many color changes. You don't do many stitches and then you've got to move to another color, or you would have to count probably farther away than you would want to. I normally would stick with one color, and I would just count over and start and keep going with one color till the thread was empty, but it would be too far on this. So I'm loving these organizers and keeping a thread of each color on a needle. So you've got a needle already in each color. It makes it super fast to do all the changes that you have to do on those. But anyway, I got this for Christmas. I forget if it was from my dad or my brother and his family. And then I got 2 lights from Glowcuscent. So this is one that goes around your neck. You've probably seen these before. I'm looking for a light, and then this is even a smaller one. This one would clip on whatever you're working on to hold it. I'm looking for a light that I can take with me on my trip to the Northwest later this summer. I'm going to Portland and then on an Alaska cruise. So Sheila from Sunshine Stitchers and Deb, who's sometimes on there, I think is going. And Margaret, there's some other folks on Sunshine Stitchers. They had announced that they were going and basically said, anybody that wants to come, there's nothing formal planned, but you can come join us. So I'm going on that cruise, and I don't want to haul along my halo light. So I think I'm going to spend a few weeks in Portland before we go to Seattle for the cruise. And I've got to limit how much crap I'm hauling along. So I was looking for a smaller light option, and I've seen people use both of these at retreats. I'm turning this one on. The downside to this one is if you're not careful, if you have it around your neck and pointed at your stuff, if you turn to talk to someone or they're sitting across from you, the light can be shining right in their eyes. So it's the only thing that makes me nervous about this one. But this one I'm not sure is enough light. It is very light. They're both very light. I worried this one was going to be heavy, like, you know, just extra weight on the Q-snap or frame holding things, but this is so light that, yeah, it's not going to be anything extra. So one of those was from my dad and one was from my brother and his family, and I don't remember which is which. So so those were my Christmas gifts. I did get a Canon, one of the little tiny Canon printers that is like the HP Sprocket, but it's a Canon version of that. And what I want to do, Virginia at Sweater Weather, I thought had a wonderful idea. She takes the small photos of everything when she has it finished, and she just then puts the photo in her journal, I think with like the date that she finished it, and it's a really organized way to keep track of everything that you worked on, everything that you finished that year. So like when I went to do my finish parade, I had to look a couple different places. I don't keep the list all in one place. I'd intended to in a journal, and I wasn't very good at it. Hopefully with the camera, maybe I would keep up with it. But I had to cross-reference the videos from the last 8 months and then look in a journal, and then I do the library card for everything that I work on. If it's something that ends up framed, I put the library card on the back of the framed piece. But if it's something that doesn't end up getting framed, then the library card just goes in a small book that I've made. So that was another source that I had to tell what I had finished. But anyway, I did some other clearance shopping Christmas week. So Fat Quarter Shop had the 12 Days of Christmas, and they, on their daily sale, they had one of their Stitch Quarterly kits at a fantastic price. So it was one that I have looked at before, although I am not sure I will do it, but I wanted everything else in the kit. So it's this cute Mrs. Santa Claus. And I saw, excuse me one second. I had to do a lot of talking at work today, and I'm losing my voice. I saw someone at, I think, Stitching in the Wild, who finished this, or close to finishing it. And it was really cute. It's a lot of solid stitching, though, and it's a lot of weight stitching for her hair. But that was the pattern from that Stitch Quarterly. So you got the bag and the pattern. The fabric is in there, and this is cool. It's mint green. It is an opalescent. So even if I don't do Mrs. Santa, you can, I guess, see the opalescent maybe. Well, no, that's the, well, you know what opalescent fabric looks like. Even if I don't do the Mrs. Santa, that fabric, I'll put something on for a Christmas ornament. It came with all the DMC flosses. There's a John James needle in there. And then it had one of the little Lori Holt, Bee in My Bonnet, the Unstitcher. So it's just a little doodad with kind of a fat, easy to hold handle to pick stitches out. I haven't opened it yet. And then a really cute needle minder that is the same as the Stitchy pattern. So it was one of their one-day flash sale items, and I think the whole kit was like 20 bucks. So I was excited with that because I liked this kit when it was out, and I wanted everything in it, but I wasn't sure I would stitch Mrs. Claus. She's really cute. I just will get bored stitching something with that much solid color, all the same. I mean, she's not small. But for the price, it was worth it for all the other goodies in there, which was the stuff that I wanted. Let me see. When I was at Stitching Post, no, I don't think it was Stitching Post. I think it was the place in Alexandria. That Splendor silk that I showed before from Rainbow Gallery, they have an assortment called Blush Porcelains, and I got it. It's all late skin tones. I don't know, and I'm sure that's what they're supposed to be. I'm not sure if they make any other samples for other skin tones, but I'm working on a few Mirabilias, and I don't know that I want to do the 1/1 for the faces. I know a lot of people do that. My Mirabilia that I did years ago, nobody was doing that, so it's 2/2, and it looks fine. But I do want good coverage for the face, and some of my Mirabilias are on dark fabric, so it does appeal to me to use the silk instead of the DMC, so that I'm sure I get really nice coverage for the face if I'm doing 2/2. But so I picked that up to use for faces. I bought some more fabric, which I didn't need. Actually, this top one I did. This one is 32 count platinum metallic Belfast. It's a Zweigart. It's a silver. It's gray with silver threads in it. And I have Glitter Village. I have all the flosses. I'm probably not going to do the whole village. I've got the whole village. It was a bundle on a D-Stash site. So I got the whole village of patterns, but I'm probably not going to do them all. I get a little bored doing houses, although that little house school went really fast. So we'll see. They did it on a natural linen with gold threads, and I really love the soft look of that, and I like the metallic in the background, but I'm not really a tan person, so I haven't dragged the floss out yet to see if I would like the flosses on this. But that's what I bought this for anyway. I did have a purpose for that one. These next few I had zero purpose for. So they had a ton of Seraphim fabric there. I've never worked on Seraphim, so I wanted to give some of it a try. This first one is 36 count Frosted Sage. And is this the one? And looking at it, it is very similar to the Fox and Rabbit Eucalyptus. It's a skosh lighter, but it's the same light bluish green. It's just a lighter one. I didn't get a very big piece of it, but I think it's just an 1/8 that I got of that. The whole store was 20% off that day, including their fabrics. So that was why I went ahead and bought a few fabrics, even though I didn't need it. Did I say what that was called? Oh yeah, Frosted Sage. These next two are 32 count, and I got 32 count because they'd work for a Mirabilia, so it's just a good count to have on hand, and it probably is the count that I'm most comfortable on. 36 I'm okay. I don't always like the coverage of one strand on 36 that you get, but just for overall versatility to keep it my stash, 32 count is a good one for me to have. So this one was called Boston, and it is a gray, it's a bluish gray. Let me hold it back so you can see. Really subtle modeling. I know this I will use. It's a color, well, you've seen some of my stitching if you've been here before, or you saw what I just showed today, and it's one of the colors that I tend to grab over and over. I do have a nice collection of grays and greens and blues, but I do use them a lot. This next one is 32 count, and it's called Stonewashed, and this one is really different from anything that I had. It is blues and kind of a dark tannish gray in there. It looks like a natural stone. Like, I can't think of the name of the stone. It's one that I only have seen at like bead shows and stuff. I might even have some in my stash from jewelry making, but it's got, let me fold it so light's not showing through it all. You can see over here some of the gray, but it's blues and grays mixed. So it's a little more mottled and multicolored than what I normally buy. So I had nothing in my stash like this, and that's why I went ahead and bought this. And you know what just dawned on me? The color is not showing up right in here. This Frosted Sage, the 36 count, which is just 1/8 of a yard. I know why I only have 1/8 of a yard of this. This actually has a really strong yellowish cast to it. So it's a very different green than what I normally stitch on. I normally tend toward the greens that are on the blue side of the spectrum. And this one in daylight or the right light really is more of a yellowy green. So I think something spring stitching might be nice on it. And oh yeah, that would be very bright for spring. So this next thing was next up to show you. I did I bought a couple spring patterns, and so one of them I didn't really like the colors, and so I just went through Classic Colorworks. Well, these three are Gloriana silks. And then I went through Classic Colorworks and I just picked out some colors that I thought looked bright and springy, and this is what I picked. Not that I would necessarily use all of the colors in something, but I wasn't sure what colors I wanted. I don't have many Classic Colorworks in stash. I have a pretty good stash of Weeks Dye Works, partly because I bought a huge lot of them on eBay from somebody, super cheap. So I went ahead and just picked out some Classic Colorworks that were spring colors. And the patterns, let me see if I'm in the right order here, if I've got the Easter things on top or not. I do have an Easter one on top, but I'm not sure it's the one that I was thinking of when I bought those. And now I don't see what it was, so I'm not sure. Maybe it was this one. Well, I have a few other Easter patterns here that I knew. I went through, I was good. I went through my stash before I went down. I looked at what I knew I wanted to fill out. Some winter, Easter, and summer. I was not to buy anything Christmas. I was pretty good with that. So I had my, okay, here's what you're allowed to look for list. But then the Stitching Post has like a clearance table, and it's a big % off the clearance table that week. And so I did end up with a handful of patterns from there that might have broken my rule, but I got this Welcome Spring box from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, and it's just a cute little bunny and spring and some carrots that was in the clearance bin. So I picked it up. And it was actually calling for Classic Colorworks. So some of the ones I picked up might have been the colors in here, but I don't think so. I think I just went through and grabbed some Classic Colorworks that I liked. But yeah, this was on the clearance bin. And I don't, the clearance table is like 60% off. It's some crazy % off. So like this pattern, you know, was only a few dollars. So Easter was one of the things I was looking for. And then I got an Easter Matilda, which I had never seen before. And I don't know when this came out. I meant to look and see if it had a copyright date on it. I don't see one, but it could be inside. But it's Matilda, the little mouse dressed up like the Easter bunny. So she is so cute. So that one's definitely getting done. You know, I love my mice. Yeah, so what the heck is she holding? Or is she hopping out of eggs or in a basket? Any ideas? What the heck is she in there? It's kind of brown, and I got ready to say I would change that because I don't really like brown. But I'm not sure what it is that she's in. And then the little chick is in something. But I don't know what those are. She's participating in the Easter egg hunt. So maybe those are baskets that they're holding. I'm not sure. I like the little mouse anyway, dressed up with the bunny costume. I'm getting myself mixed up here. That belongs over there. I got too many piles happening already. Okay, so this was Christmas, although it wouldn't have to be. And it was from the clearance basket somewhere. I'm thinking, oh, in Stitches. Oh, the store is in Stitches. I found a price sticker. Good grief. But I want to do the cute little mouse there. Of course. I've never seen that pattern before, though. It's Christmas stars from the Workbasket. It's that little raccoon and that little mouse, and then the pattern comes with the two little star charms, which I might or might not put on, but they were cute. It was from In Stitches clearance thing. All right, these are some other things I got in the clearance pile. This is from the Stitching Post. Just a cute little summer, kind of a quick one. I might do this one. It might be the right size and enough stitching. I'll have to look and see how much stitching it actually is to do it for a smalls exchange even. Like the Stitch New Jersey one is in July. So summer themed things are nice for that. This next one is also summer beach theme. This one came from In Stitches, and it's the Madame Chantilly Walk to the Sea, and that's that one. I like Madame Chantilly patterns, and I often like pieces of them. They're ones that I would definitely do just things from, like the little girl in the crazy bathing suit with the bottom that looks like a watermelon, and that little red crab there is fantastic, although red crabs are cooked, so crabs really should be blue in this area. They're blue crabs, and when they're cooked they turn red. So I always kind of laugh when I've got red crabs on things. I have other patterns that are red crabs. I'll stitch a red crab, don't get me wrong, but crabs aren't red unless they're ready to eat. This is another beach theme one, which also came from the clearance bin. They had some fantastic stuff in their clearance bin, I'm telling you. I did buy some things that weren't on clearance, although it was mostly fabric, I think. No, there's a few patterns. This is from Blackberry Lane Designs, and it's called Relaxing at the Beach. And it's this crazy little camper, all glamped up. Another little summer beach theme. That one, what size is that? 1/16 count. It comes out 5 1/8 by 2 5/8. So it's pretty small. If I wanted it as a small, I could do it on 25 count and make it even smaller. I don't know what the stitches are. Oh, 83 by 42. So if I did it 1/1 on 25, it would be less than 2 inches by just a little over 3 inches. That'd be a nice small size. And then I've got another summer theme, also from the clearance bin. This one is from the Stitchworks, and it's called Summer Fun, and it's these crazy little fuzzy flip-flops. The whole flip-flops aren't fuzzy, it's just the straps on each one are fuzzy, and then they've used the fuzzy in the cording, and they did even include some of the fuzzy yarn. I have some yarn like that, but it's really nice just having it all in here. But I thought those were cute and bright, and I might do one of these beach themed things, especially even the flip-flops, for my best friend lives in flip-flops. Like in the summer I like to be barefoot. She's flip-flops all the way. All right, I think, no, I got one more thing. Oh no, I have okay, that's the end of my clearance stuff, except for one thing. So this was Christmas, which I wasn't supposed to buy, but I've looked at this pattern before. It's from the Cricut collection, and it was in the clearance bin. And I know I have picked this up and put this back 2 or 3 times at different needlework shops, and when I found it in the clearance bin, it was kind of just meant to be. So it's called Over the River, and it's these really cute little mittens with different little designs on the camper and the little campers and little truck, and the reason I kept putting this back is that this whole camper truck theme I know is going to be very dated at some point. You know, kind of like the teddy bears from the 80s. This camper truck thing, I love it, but it is gonna date itself. But to do a couple little small things, I'm okay with that. And I did grow up camping. I don't camp now. I don't have a camper. I would still love to camp. It's not very cost effective traveling solo to camp. And just the expense of, you know, you've got to have something that can pull a camper. Here you have to have a hard surface to park your camper on. Yeah, there's just a lot of rules. Camper storage, camp spaces have gotten very expensive, but I do love camping. I occasionally meet, my dad still camps, and I'll meet him up when he's camping. This next one is Collection Tra-La-La, and it's called Nuit Polaris. And I'm not sure it's going to show up. So I got it at the stitching post. This was not in the clearance bin, but one of the things that I was looking for were winter themed things, and they had this done as a sample. So I don't think you can tell, but it's actually stitched on, is this the one? No, their sample had this on fabric that had snowflakes on it. I fell in love with their sample that they had, I think. Yeah, I'm positive this was one, because I have the photo. I took the photos of a couple samples that they had, and that was one. This next one is also Christmas. Actually, yeah, it's my last Christmas. Okay, I wasn't supposed to be buying Christmas. This is from Counting Puddles, which I saw for the first time at one of the retreats last year, and I think it was, okay, I'm not going to say which one. I'm going to get it wrong. I think it was Stitch New England, but I had not seen Counting Puddles before. I bought some snowflakes, and it was when I was showing them on Flosstube that I realized that those snowflakes had a lot of backstitch to get the lacy effect. That's fine, I can deal with that, but Counting Puddles has a very unique look, so I'm always fascinated when you find a pattern that, or a designer that you know who that pattern or designer is when you see it. They've got something unique about them. It's not a style or a design or motifs that everybody else is doing. And this Counting Puddles definitely has a unique look. But this is a little bunny tangled up in Christmas tree lights with a star dangling. And I just thought it was really cute. And it's 58 by 62. I may even consider doing that one for one of the smalls for an exchange. I really loved it and wanted to do it, but you know, my one whole tree is mice. My other tree is kind of a hodgepodge of ornaments that I've had since I was a kid. It's got a lot of cat ornaments on it, because once you have a cat or two, everybody gives you cat things. So I have a ton of cat ornaments, and then just other ornaments from different travels or gifts and things that I like. So it has a little bit of everything on it, but I don't really do much with bunnies other than at Easter. But this was really cute. So I could do it as an ornament and put it on that tree, or I could do it as an ornament and use it for a smalls exchange. It's not, you know, some patterns I look at and I'm like, oh, I have to have that. I want it for this spot in my kitchen, or I want a pillow out of that. And then there's other patterns that I'm just like, oh, I love that design, but I'm not sure what I would do with it, or if I need it. And this was one of them, and those are ones that would be good smells exchanges. So I'm leaning toward that for this. Somebody would love that. It's very cute. I love the pattern. I wanted some winter smalls, and there's this really cute design from Shannon Christine Designs, and it's called Winter Stamp Collection, and it's definitely just winter. It's in non-traditional colors. It's got some pinks and purples in there. Nothing about it says Christmas, so that's nice. The whole thing is only 90 by 59, so I don't know, each one of those little things must just be like 20 by 20 or something. They're very small. So yeah, I want to do some little winter pincushion pillow thingies. That one was cute. This one came from the Stitching Post, and it's Little Women, which was my favorite book when I was a preteen. I have my mother's version of Little Women and there were two other books, Louisa May Alcott, Rose and Bloom, and Eight Cousins. And I loved all three of them. And all three had been my mother's, and she had loved them, and I still have those, and they were my favorite books and have been read and reread into adulthood. But I love this Little Women pattern. You know, I won't do it on that dark brown fabric, but it's a really sweet pattern, and I think the designer did a good job at sort of picking up the personality of each of the four sisters. Just something that you know which sister is which. And this is by Posie, who is Alicia Paulson. And I've never heard of Posie. So I'm always excited to find a designer that I have not seen or heard before as well. This next one was from In Stitches, and they had it as a model. So, and can I say, I love the way both of those stores organize their models. You don't have to like stand at the front counter and try to say, oh, I want the one that's in the back corner and it's snowman, and where would I find that pattern and get the, well, it would be over there with the snowman, and then you have to kind of dig and see, do they have it. Both In Stitches and Stitching Post have all of their models with a number on them. So if you see one up there, this one was 907. I love 907. I could go to the bin that was all in numeric order and say, yep, here's 907. This is the one I want. In Stitches, you grabbed your own. At Stitching Post, you just tell them what number, and they look in a bin that's there behind the counter. So love that organization, ladies, if anybody knows them. It's fantastic. And I buy more that way, so it's smart as well. Because sometimes if I have to go digging, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go digging, because the stores are always out of whatever they have as a model. But I will say, both of these stores are really good also, at least from the few times that I've been to Stitching Post. And then I've only been to In Stitches once. But the things that they have as models, they obviously try to keep those patterns in stock. They don't let themselves run out of them. So thank you for that too. But this is a shepherd's bush pattern, and it's called Harvest. And it's this pumpkin, just kind of a stylistic pumpkin there. It's not focusing very well. There you go. Now, had I known, I may actually be going to Salt Lake in a month, a little over a month, for work. We're actually going to Phoenix, and I'm debating hopping from Phoenix to Salt Lake while I'm in that part of the country. And if I go to Salt Lake, I want to make the trip up to Ogden to Shepherd's Bush. So I might get to Shepherd's Bush. Right now our trip is just tentative. So fingers crossed. If I get to Phoenix, I want to go to, is it the Attic? I think it's the Attic. There's a Stitch store in the Phoenix area. There's actually a few, but there's one that's pretty well known. People go there for retreats. Brendan, the serial starter, go there for retreats and things. And I would like to visit that. But then if I can hop over to Salt Lake, there's some quilt shops that I want to visit there. And I would love to get to Shepherd's Bush. And there's another big cross-stitch store there that has some kind of generic name, like the Crafter's Cupboard or something like that. I have some other things I'm doing in both of those places other than shopping. But if I do make it there, I really want to get to Shepherd's Bush. And so then I kind of wish I shouldn't have bought this pattern. I should have waited. And the last thing that I bought, oh no, sorry, I bought two more things. Tiny Modernist Secret Garden. And it says if you look the right way, you can see that the whole world is a garden. And that's the pattern, and I just loved it. And I love most of her patterns. And I did the one last year that says Stitching Mends the Soul for Mental Health Cares Month, which is 614 Stitcher hosts a stitch along for that in May. And I may actually do this one for Mental Health Cares Month. It's bigger than the one I did last time, but let's see. This on, all right, on 14 count it finishes at 8.5 by 11. She does a phenomenal job at designing so that things fit standard frames. I mean, I have other patterns from her that say designed to fit a 5x7 frame, which is just super nice. So 8.5 by 11, it's not bad. There's a lot of open space in that. The last thing I bought, and this was at Stitching Post, and I've never bought models before, and the pattern on this, the design isn't anything that really spoke to me, but I bought it because I wanted to remember how it was finished. So they've stitched the little watermelon thing, and it's got lots of beads, and there's little flower buttons on it. I don't know who the pattern is. It didn't say. So there's beads down, the weight on the checkerboard is beads, and then it's little flower buttons, and then that frog button you can see because the light's reflecting on it. But it's been stitched on banding, and then they've just folded the banding in the back and whip stitched that down. So they've just stitched the sides, stuffed it, and then stitched down the back. And then I even loved how they had the little hanger with the little bow on each corner. So I bought this because I wanted to remember how it was finished. I have some banding. I have some banding scraps that came in like fabric de-stash things. And I've almost thrown them away because I'm like, what am I going to do with this little tiny strip piece of banding? For me, I would normally use banding for like a band sampler. And I'm like, I just have too much crap around here. I need to get rid of some of this stuff. Let me get rid of these little pieces. And I haven't, because heaven forbid I should throw something away and then wish I had it. So when I saw this, I was like, ooh, I could use some of those little tiny pieces of banding for that. So I've got to dig out that banding. But yeah, this was like $6. So I bought it. It's stitched very neatly too, and the finishing is superb. Whoever did the finishing on it it's flawless. So yeah, if you're looking for finishing idea, something that would be super easy, do some banding, stitch up one side, both sides, stuff it, fold down the top, and finish stitching around. And you've got a really cute little pillow. And I like how they did the hanger, so I thought I would share that. And that is everything that I have for today. I think this has run a full hour. Good grief. So I hope everybody is having a good winter. We have finally had snow. I was very excited with that. Last weekend I got some good stitching in. That's when most of this got done, was because it snowed and I didn't go anywhere. So my plans now, I want to start into some winter stitching. I would not mind getting a little more of the Christmas elf fairy, and maybe that little house small, the schoolhouse. I wouldn't mind getting some more stitched on those this weekend. And then this weekend will probably be the last of my Christmas stitching until maybe, I'm seriously thinking July. I'm going to stitch Christmas for the full month of July and make that Christmas in July, because I just don't, I've got a ton of Christmas patterns. I love putting out Christmas pieces, and Thanksgiving to Christmas doesn't give me enough time. Even spilling over into January, I'm like, oh, but I want to finish this, I want to finish that. So Christmas fairy elf, the little house, those might get some additional work. And then I've got some snowmen and some definite non-Christmas but winter themed things that I'm moving on to. So I will be back in 2 weeks. It might only be a week. I may film early but still post 2 weeks from now. I've got a trip to visit my aunt in Pittsburgh. So I'll have to film because I'm also, dermatologist annual screening, and I have to have a thing removed from my eye here. I'm not unhappy about that. I hate this thing. I want it off anyway, but I'm having that done that Wednesday, like 10 days from now, and he warned me it's gonna bruise, so I don't want to film with a black eye either. So anyway, everybody have a fantastic week. I'm done rambling for the night, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!